what to do with those picky eaters. Now, caveat here, there could be, like diagnosable conditions that make your kids picky eaters. There are food therapists out there. I am not one of those. I am simply just, dealing with the everyday mom, whose kids don't want to eat vegetables. So I will say that one of the top things here is avoiding discouraging language when it comes to certain types of food groups. So now for our kids, we started this eating whole food way of life many years before we had kids, but really it resonated when we started to have kids. So for us and for our kids, eating this way, eating whole foods, eating fruits and vegetables has just been their way of life, for as long as they can remember. I mean, here's little Chef Noah back when he was probably 9 or 10 months old, gnawing on some broccoli here. And I have several pictures like this. I have one of him dipping a bell pepper in hummus. I have, him gnawing on a piece of asparagus. That is just the base that we set for our kids at a very young age, so they don't really know any differently. So if you get to a point where maybe your kids have had a lot of processed foods, and so now you're trying to incorporate more of the vegetables, I wouldn't make vegetable a bad word. Funny story, I read to Chef Noah's class. There's Chef Noah talking to me. Okay, honey. I went to his preschool and read to his class a few months ago, and so this is groups of 4-year-olds, and I read a book. It was called Growing Vegetable Soup, and so it was going through all the steps from seed to finish of growing all these vegetables in your garden and then eventually making soup from them. And every single time I got in the book and I read the word vegetable, this little girl would squeal, "Ew, vegetable." It cracked me up because I'd never seen a response. I read to 10 different classes that day, but I didn't see that response from her. And honestly, the truth is an adult had to teach her that. That is not like an ingrained thing for a child to know and to do just when they hear a certain word. So, I'm really big proponent of, you can't have separate things going on in your household, right? You have to have everybody on board. It's really unfair if mom is the one responsible for preparing and meal planning and cooking meals and everything like that. It's really unfair to her. Hi, honey. It's really unfair to her if she has to cook and prepare more than one meal, because certain people have preferences within the family that they're not going to eat the family meal together. So everybody just eats the same thing in our household. There's every once in a while, like we made an eggplant lasagna last week, and Noah didn't really prefer it. So he kind of ate around the eggplant, and somebody else, I think it was probably Big Brother, ate the eggplant itself. And then we offered him something supplemental, but everybody gets served the exact same thing. We don't punish with food. Don't say, you have to eat this or you're not going to get that. So, you just really have to be careful around the language and the expectations for the children. So really, if you have young kiddos, let them start exploring. You can look up the movement called baby-led weaning, and it's transitioning from breastfeeding to whole foods, letting children explore, a whole stalk of celery or a whole broccoli. They're literally just exploring it. They're not eating it for nutrition at that point. They're just becoming familiar with it. Of course, we won't be sensitive for anything that's going to be a choking hazard or anything like that. But so the biggest thing, if you have more school-age kids, you're a little bit past baby stage and introducing foods, but you have school-age children, you want to get them involved, you really have to have them engaged in the entire process. Now, I know kids aren't really going to the grocery shop or to farmer's market right now and helping pick things out, so try as much as you can. But we would often just take our kids shopping and let them, walk through the produce section, give them little challenges like, let's find every color of the rainbow, or let's try 5 different things this week, 5 different fruits or 5 different vegetables. Let them pick things out, talk to them about ripeness and color and what nutrients are in certain fruits and vegetables. And then when we bring it home, have them help with washing and with simple chopping, with measuring ingredients. That's going to have them more engaged in the process. One of our favorite desserts here in our household is actually an Indian dish. It's called carrot halva, and it's made from like little tiny shredded up carrots. Traditionally, it's made with dairy milk. We usually make ours with coconut milk, sweeten it with honey, with some raisins, with some fresh sliced almonds, the kids absolutely love this process. And so essentially it is a dessert made from vegetables. Now, if we went in there and said, hey guys, our dessert today is going to be made with vegetables, but probably not going to, if our kids were sensitive to those words, that's not really going to engage them in the process. But if we just start with, helping them pick it out and seeing the evolution of the food and how differently it can taste based on how it's prepared, it really engages them in the process. And hopefully they are inspired to go ahead and try it.